Heyo, and welcome back to my channel. Today isn't really going to be anything in particular, probably not even very long. This is just me ranting a little bit to myself on a subject that is very near and dear to my heart. It's a very touchy subject for me. I keep bringing it up over and over and over again. Also, by the way, I do like my bed head. I haven't had one in a long time, so I thought that I would treat you guys to this gloriousness. You heard me rant on this, but now I want to actually rant on this. I wanted to actually rant for a little bit on this. We humans are so good at forgetting. Oh my goodness, we're so good at forgetting, and it annoys me so much because what we're best at forgetting is the good stuff. Okay, for example, for me, I barely ever remember my dreams anymore. I used to remember them all the time, but that was because when I was little, I dreamed about monsters every single night for 2 years, and then one time I was like, wait, Jesus, could you please let me not dream about monsters? Please give me a nothing dream. So I prayed to have a dream where I don't remember anything. And then it happened. And then every night after that, when I would remember to pray not to have bad dreams, then I wouldn't actually have bad dreams. Now I barely ever remember my dreams unless they were bad dreams. Those are the ones that we remember because you wake up and then you remember them. Whereas for me, the good ones are the ones that I completely forget. Or I'm assuming that I had dreams those nights. Because surely I dream 98% of the nights of my life. I just don't remember it. And then something that annoys me so much in my day-to-day life is how easy it is to forget what's come before and focus only on this moment and what's happening right now. It feels like I have zero memory of what on earth happened in the past. At the end of the day, if the end of the day wasn't very good, I forget that it was a really good day before, and then I'm just left with this emotion right before I go to bed of oh my goodness, today was horrible because this one thing happened that ruined my day right before it ended. And I forget all of the ways that God was so faithful to me in the earlier part of the day and all of the good things that he did for me earlier, and I just focus on the one bad thing that happened, and I was man, today was horrible. And then sometimes I put it in perspective, wait. No, it wasn't. Remember all of those amazing things? Remember what a good mood I was in earlier in the day? It's so sad to me how easy it is to destroy someone's good mood by doing one bad thing. Whereas then it's so much harder to fix someone's bad mood by doing one good thing. I don't know. Why is it that we have this tendency to just focus on the bad things and to let those affect us so much? I want to let the good things affect me so much more. That's the kind of person I want to be, is focusing on the good things and letting those lift my spirits instead of, I don't know, kind of taking them for granted. Obviously I should have all these good things happening to me. Obviously my life should be great. And then when there are the bad things, I'm oh my goodness, I don't deserve this. How could this have happened to me? This is horrible. But yeah, it's so easy to forget God's goodness to us in the past, just in light of this one moment. And then that makes the one bad moment all the worse because we're not even thinking about how faithful he's been in the past, how good he's been to us in the past, how he's brought us out of this before. And we're just oh my goodness, everything is crazy, when we completely forget that he delivered us from a situation so much like this just a little bit ago. The Israelites wandering through the wilderness, they were so good at forgetting how God had provided for them. We're oh my goodness, we need food. Oh my gosh, we need water, we're gonna die. When he'd already provided water for them one time and then he did it again. They just didn't trust his provision and they forgot so quickly the Lord their God who had brought them up out of Egypt. And it just frustrates me because I'm so like that also. I can't even be oh my goodness, you guys are so stupid, because in the back of my mind I'm oh my goodness, I'm so stupid with them. I'm just as bad as they are. And it annoys me so much that our minds work this way and that we have such a tendency to gravitate towards the bad stuff and that we are so good at forgetting what's really actually true. Or even when we think we are remembering what's actually true, when we think we have the clearest view of what reality is. Cynical people, they feel they're seeing life for what it is, and they're well, this is the truth, this is what I've come to understand, and they're no, I know what's actually real. That's when we've forgotten the most what the actual truth is, because the actual truth is love. That's it. That's all there is. It's just love. God's love. And the ultimate purposes that he has for us, and all of who he is, and the way that he takes care of us in each and every situation. And it frustrates me so much that I'm so good at forgetting. One time I was praying to him about that, actually, that I was this is such a good and beautiful moment with you, and I'm so sorry that I'm gonna forget about it in a little bit, that in just a couple of days I'm gonna be doubting you again and your goodness again, and wondering if you love me again, or wondering where you are, or questioning if I have a real relationship with you, or if you speak to me anymore at all. And I forget so easily the moments in the past and his faithfulness and his truth. And you don't want to completely be living in the past or in denial of what situation you're in, and yet also it's so good for me to take comfort from what's come before. And if I'm in a hard time, honestly, I can sense when there's a time to just get out of my own head and really just focusing on his goodness in the past, laying through all of these memories with him, and just kind of reliving that, recalling that, proclaiming that over my heart and my spirit, and it refreshes me, it revives me so much. And so I really want to make it this practice of remembering. And God knows that we need this. You'd think we would even have the basics down of our salvation of Jesus died and he rose again. And you'd think that we would remember that, because that's literally what our entire lives now are built around. Everything that we're doing stems out of that belief. And yet God knew that we'd need reminded of that too. So then Jesus said, like, remember and proclaim my death until the day that I come. And that's why he instituted the ordinance of communion, because we would forget. And like some people, I mean, I know like different churches take it at different times because we need reminded of that so often. And it's crazy to me how each and every time I'm like, oh yeah, I need brought back down to this basic grounding truth, when it's even just been 7 days since I did it last. It's just like every single morning I need that. And I've heard of like some people who they'll like preach the gospel to themselves every single morning when they wake up. And I'm like, honestly, that is such a good idea, because one, it trains you to be able to preach the gospel to other people, so that like if you're ever called upon to do it, or like you feel the spirit leading you to, you know what to say, you've practiced. And then two, we need reminded of it every single day. Like my heart needs preach the gospel every single day to center me, to ground me, to make me remember what's true, and to then give me a way better chance of living out of the truth during the rest of the day. And I feel like that could make such a big difference in my life. So now I'm making myself want to start doing that. I think I probably should, actually. I think I'm going to try. But anyway, yeah, there's a song that I really like by Sleeping at Last called Body. And it just, the one line, it just comes to my mind out of context all of the time. Same with some other of his lines. But it's just like, God, it's easy to forget. It's so easy to forget. And like, I find myself singing that all of the time because it is so easy to forget. And it frustrates me that I'm like this, that I can't just keep my mind focused on God and remember who he is and how faithful he's been to me. And yet then praise God for his graciousness to us in reminding us every single day, in making his mercies to us new every single morning. I love that he doesn't give up on us. That he's not just like, well, if I told you once, I've told you 1,000 times, and then he doesn't tell us 1,000 times. No, he tells us every single moment he's whispering in my ear, I love you. Even if it's really hard for me to see or understand, I know that's what he's saying. I know that's what he's living out of towards me, is his love. And that makes me think of All You Need to Know, which is another song that I really, really like. And it's just like, you don't need to listen carefully. I'll tell you 1,000 times. So it's kind of like the flip side of that. And that's what God does for us. He knows we're going to forget again in a moment, but he's going to tell us again the next breath also. So in conclusion, we're really good at forgetting, but God is so faithful to remind us, and I really want to remember and proclaim, because that's so important. I want to be developing a mindset of recalling his goodness to me in the past, to give me sustenance in the present and hope for the future. I think that's all the ranting that I have for now. I literally could honestly probably go on and on and on forever, because once you get me to start talking, and if no one's trying to interrupt, I could go forever. And so I won't, but there you go. Thank you for watching, and goodbye until more interesting things happen.